How many points, seriously, I'm not kidding, how many points do you think, if we put a team together of me, you, Borzello, Norlander, and Parrish, a starting five, how many points do you think we could score on Iowa's defense?
74.
I don't know. That's a lot, but I think
that's just because I probably have to get 60 of them myself.
You might have to make 15 threes, but ultimately, there's nothing better for a offense that cannot score the basketball than to face Iowa's defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their perimeter defense is atrocious. And it's the reason why we all worry. Like, can they win 4 straight? Like, not can they win 6 straight? Can they win 4 straight and get to the Final Four? Because I think it'd be a hell of a story. Like, to me, give me Baylor, give me Gonzaga, give me Iowa, and then throw in a 14 that's like a complete underdog. And I'm ecstatic with that Final Four because I want to see Luka Garza in the Final Four, and I want to see Iowa because they can score the basketball. So they're fun to watch from that perspective. Are they beating Baylor or Gonzaga? No, they're not. They're not. We already tried that with Gonzaga. That didn't happen. But, again, I enjoy watching Iowa play, but they just don't. I don't have that faith in them because they can't guard.
Yeah, they can't get stops. You have to be able to get stops to win.
Michigan State had 37 points last week. 37 points in a game against Rutgers. They scored 78 last night and were like making every three. Again, because, I feel like I don't know, is it a pride thing? Like, we talked to Luka Garza about it earlier this year, Robbie Hummel and I, and he said, no, we practice defense, we work on it. Are they just too like you couldn't guard?
Well,
right?
no, there's two reasons. One of them is that they just don't have very good individual defenders, right? Like, Luka Garza is going to work his ass off and get every ounce that he can get out of his ability on the defensive end of the floor. He's just never going to be great defensively because he has a limited physical, his physical tools are limited, right? Jordan Bohannon is like short and kind of unathletic, and he's coming off of hip surgery, and he's just not all that. Like, he's never going to be a great defender. Joe Wieskamp is okay, and Connor McCaffrey can kind of get in the passing lanes, but they also do this thing where, since they can't guard ball screens with Luka at the 5, they go to this zone, and it's a mess because they don't communicate well, they don't move well in it. It's a matchup zone, but they're so easy to confuse in it. Like, I really honestly believe that they need to play Keegan Murray 35 minutes a game. Like, he has to be their guy. Because he's their most athletic player. He is by far their best defender. He's the guy that they put on Ayo Dosunmu, right? Like, he's the guy that they put on the toughest matchup for everybody on the other team when they go man. Like, they're just a mess on that end. It's bad schemes combined with bad defenders, and what you get is bad defense. It's really just that simple.
I wonder,
Jeff, real quick. The other part of it is they also attack the offensive glass so hard that it makes it really hard for them to get back in transition. So they give up a lot of layups that way too.
Yep. That's true. All right, so we can't move on without talking about your Tennessee Volunteers and what an awful loss that was last night. I mean, Ole Miss is bad this season. You're like, I would. Can we find that clip? Can we find that clip of you when you were basically? And I was with you. You had me convinced that Tennessee was the 3rd best team in the country. Like, that was what, a month ago?
At the time they were because they were actually able to score. They were tougher than everybody that they were going up against, but there's just something not registering there. And it's not like it's because they don't have the ability. You have 2 lottery picks on that roster. You have the best defensive player in Yves Pond. You have another former McDonald's All-American in Josiah Jordan-James. You have a guy in Santiago Vescovi who is one of the better shooters in the SEC. And you have John Fulkerson, who was the best big guy in the conference down the stretch of last season.
It wasn't 30. Hey, that was December 31st. That was New Year's Eve day. I guarantee if you look back at this stream, New Year's Eve day, you can find a clip of Rob Dauster saying Tennessee might be better than Gonzaga.
I don't think I said that. Did I say? If I said that, I don't think I was serious.
You might have.
If I said that, I don't think I was serious. But I definitely said that they were the 3rd best team in the country, and they were in the same conversation. And at the time, they were. Like, when you are punishing teams defensively, the way that they were punishing teams defensively, you're going to be in that conversation. But the issue is they just cannot score.
Can't score.
Right?
Can't score.
They cannot score. Like, what there's a certain level of expectation where if you tell me, okay, you have the best defensive team in the country, right? You have 2 lottery picks on that roster. You have guys that are other guys that are going to play in the NBA. There are probably 4 guys that will play in the NBA on that Tennessee team, and they're scoring 50 points at Ole Miss. Like at some point, that ain't on me, right? At some point, when when you have all that talent on the roster and you're kicking everybody's ass in December, and I say yes, they're going to be awesome. Like it's not on me that the bottom falls out, right? So it is what it is.
Amazing. So that's the one you gotta take, and who knows if Tennessee can turn this back around and they can be at least like just be a team that, depending on matchups, maybe they can get to the Sweet 16. Like they're going to get in the tournament. They're clearly not an elite team anymore. They're probably a fringe top 25 team right now.
I still think that they have the ability to make that run. The issue is who's
your guy though? Who's your guy that can score? Like I just don't feel like they have one. That's the problem, Rob. Like they don't have a guy you can just give the ball to and go get me a bucket.
It should be Jaden Springer, right?
Yeah, he's not ready.
Should be the guy that can do that creating for him. He hasn't been of late. Keon Johnson, in theory, could be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's not ready or what. Santiago Vescovi, I know he was dealing with a pretty painful hip pointer, but at some point you kind of just gotta you're either playing through it or you're not, right? So I get it, right? I get it. We'll see.
All right,
I still think they have that feeling. I just want
thoughts. Couple quick Big Ten thoughts before we move on to tonight. Illinois finds a way. I mean, it didn't look good, but Io was fouled out in overtime. Everybody was in foul trouble in that game. It was not pretty. But Andre Curbelo saves them with an unbelievable pass. Did you get my reference on Twitter? My Rob Deere, Dave Kingman reference, which ages me. Do you know who they are?
Oh no, I do. It's either strikeouts or home runs. But
good job. I didn't know.
You should have gone with Adam Dunn. And honestly, that's every baseball team on the planet right now is all home runs or strikeouts. That's how you win. So it was a little bit of a dated reference, but I got it. I got it better than Norlander did.
I'm just making sure you got it. He didn't get it.
He was upset about it.
Yeah, well, that's Nerdlander. Anyway, listen, good gutty win for Illinois at Indiana. Indiana's not great, but when you go on the road like that, and you've got and Indiana had guys that were in foul trouble as well, and Jerome Hunter didn't play, but ultimately you can get a win like that, and we've said it. Bottom line is when you've got Kofi going up against Trace Jackson Davis, that should be a draw. And it kind of was to some extent. Trace played really well early. And then again, to me, the key for this team might be Andre Curbelo because Trent Frazier's shooting the hell out of the ball. Mm-hmm. He's got a good year. So you've got Trent Frazier on the wing that can really shoot it. You've got Io on the wing that can really score it. You've got Kofi down low, who we know can't guard certain teams, but he's a fucking monster. He's an absolute monster. And then you've got Curbelo, who on his best day is a guy who makes everybody around him better, gets them easy shots, great opportunities, can push the ball, can also play in the half court. He's the key for me. And when Curbelo is good, they can be really, really, really good, Rob.
Yeah, see, I think I get what you're saying. My only problem with that is when you have Curbelo and Trent Frazier on the floor together, all of a sudden your lineup is really, really small. And then, I think that their best 5 also includes Adam Miller out there, which means that all of a sudden, Io is basically your 4-man, right? So that's my only issue is that they get real small really quick, which is a little bit of a problem when you have a center that can't really move in Kofi. So, I hear what you're saying. It's just it's a weird roster makeup. But look, they're so dangerous because they can put up points like that. Right. They got so many guys that can get hot.
That's right.
We've seen Trent Frazier pop off for 25. We've seen Adam Miller make 3 or 4 threes in a row multiple times this season. So they're dangerous and they're fun. You know who I want to talk about really quick?
Go ahead.
I want to talk about Maryland. So Maryland they're kind of like the forgotten team, right? They're 10-8 on the season. They're 4-7. in Big Ten play, but they have wins at Minnesota, wins at Illinois,
Yep.
and wins at Wisconsin. I'm going to read you off the list of losses that they have this season.
They're quality. They're all quality losses.
Yeah, they lost to Rutgers at home. They lost at Purdue. They lost to Michigan at home. They lost at Indiana. They lost to Iowa at home. They lost at Michigan, and they lost to Wisconsin at home. Their worst loss of the season was at Clemson, and like at the time, that was when Clemson was still good before they had their COVID shutdown and the bottom fell out. So
I don't know what to make of them.
Rob,
I got no idea.
They're 10-8 right now.
Yeah,
they're 10-8 right now. Their schedule's about to get easier. Like they probably have the easiest run-in of anybody in the Big Ten. Here's the rest of their schedule: at Penn State, Ohio State at home, Minnesota at home, at Nebraska, at Rutgers, Michigan State at home, at Northwestern, Penn State at home. Like they could easily win 5 of those games, 6 of those games, and if they win 5. Let's just say that they win 5 of them, right? And they go 5 in, what is that? 5 and 3 down the stretch. I think they have a makeup game they got to play in there somewhere. Let's just say that they win 5 more games and they go 9 and 11 in the Big Ten, right? And they're 15 and 12 overall. That's a profile that's going to get you very, very close to the NCAA tournament with those big wins and without any bad losses.
They're 39 in the net today. You know,
they're be a tournament team. Like that might be a tournament team.
Have to be. And Big Ten's going to get so much pop. You know, and with their depth this year, they're going to get. I haven't looked at it lately, but I mean, Penn State is 35 in the net. Penn State, Rob. You know,
I mean, we told everybody this was going to happen, right? Like when you're dealing with, when you're dealing with a league where it's so balanced, like the computer numbers are going to rise and the cream of the crop is going to rise, but it's crazy. Right, we can know what's going to happen. It's still crazy when it actually like plays out that way.
Let's get to tonight.
All right, yeah.
What's the best game of the night? Is there a best game of the night?
Oh man, is it?
I don't know if there's a best game. There's a lot of solid games, right? Like to me, I don't know. Are we going to say LSU Alabama because it's Alabama?
Maybe Villanova and like this new look St. John's that is all of a sudden awesome.
Settle down there. Settle down. Settle.
You're like 5 and 6 in the Big East. They're winning a bunch of games.
Yeah, I get it. They won. They beat UConn without Book Night, and they've beaten a bunch of the bottom tier teams in the Big East. And the bottom half of the Big East isn't very good this year. If you haven't noticed, Marquette's not good.
The Big East in general is like kind of not very good.
What's that?
The Big East overall is like kind of not very good.
Well, I mean, you still have a couple teams at the top that you feel like.
Don't say Creighton. Please don't say Creighton.
I'm going to say Creighton. I'm saying Villanova and Creighton are still pretty good. Seton Hall is still decent, right? Xavier's like decent. Like those 4 and UConn when they get Book Night back.
I mean, that's the thing. So look, Villanova's really good, right? Creighton, they can be dangerous. And then you get into like UConn, who like do we really know what UConn is at this point? No. We don't really know. Like you get to
wait. But if you put them against UConn or Maryland, who do you like?
Well, the difference is we're talking about UConn as the 3rd best team in the Big East, and Maryland is like the 11th best team in the Big Ten.
I'm not saying it's as good as the Big Ten, but I'm saying UConn's still a tournament team. You throw them in the 8-9 game. Like same thing with Xavier. They could be 8-9 game. Seton Hall, 8-9 game. Right? Like all these teams.
But those are my point is that when we're talking about the Big East, right? And we're saying like their 3rd best team is like, yeah, maybe they can make the 8-9 game if things work out for them down the stretch. Like that's not a very good league.
No, but somebody will separate themselves. Somebody will separate themselves.
If they play, like UConn's got to play to be able to separate themselves.
The bottom is what worries me.
Seton Hall can't separate themselves anymore. They've already lost to Villanova and to Creighton twice. So how are they going to separate themselves?
I just think, again, DePaul, Georgetown, Butler, Marquette all kind of stink this year. And the St. John's.
Look at you giving the Johnnies credit. Oh man.
No, they're the best of that group. They've beaten the last 5 wins. Butler at home. Again, Butler's not very good until they got Bo Hodges. Bo Hodges changes them now, sort of. UConn without Book Night. Good win. Good win, regardless, at UConn. They beat Utah Valley as one of these 5, by the way, that they've won. DePaul stinks. We know that. And then they beat Marquette on the road, which looks like a good win until we examine Marquette and say, like, Marquette isn't any good this year. They're super disappointing.
But they beat Wisconsin, so
they did. Oh. That was their one big win. But Marquette, listen, you talk about a fan base that is frustrated right now, Rob. Look at Marquette with Woj. They are frustrated.
They are always frustrated though. Like,
yeah,
that's just Marquette fans.